Good morning to everyone, and thank you all for taking the time out to be here with us today. My name is Amir Roberts, and I am a part of the Camden Student Union. Welcome to the National Day of Action Against Gun Violence in Schools. Our event is We Choose to Protect Our Schools and Students. We would like to thank the Camden City School District, Mr. Andrew Bell, Ms. Carmen Cooper, and Dr. Davita Coe-Brockington. At this time, we would like to have a welcoming statement from Dr. Coe.
Thank you for inviting me to speak on such an important day. And I'm just so appreciative of our students and this movement. And I thank you for inviting me to speak because it is your movement. You, our young people in this country, have taken on this task to make sure that we are safe in our communities, in our schools, in our public places. And as many times as I've told our students, the civil rights movement was led by students your age. And for me to see you, young people around this country, taking on this movement, you are our leaders of tomorrow. This is the new civil rights movement because you have every right to be safe when you enter a school building, when you enter a mall, when you enter a movie theater, anywhere you go. And we have a right to make sure that our children are safe when they go to school every day. And they don't have to worry about someone coming in with an automatic weapon. So again, thank you students for inviting me today to speak, to welcome you. And I am so very, very proud that you've taken this on and are fighting that good fight because you are on the right side of this issue. Thank you again for inviting me.
At this time, we will have a singing of the Black National Anthem from Yakira Watson. Please stand.
If you know it, sing along. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Thank you.
At this time, we will now have today's purpose of today's discussion by Karima Dickerson and China Morrison.
We choose to protect our schools. We stand in solidarity with the students in Parkland, and we stand in solidarity solidarity with today's anniversary of the Columbine school shooting. Our opening statement was created by youth of color from across the country. Black and brown youth demand racial justice and school safety debate. We deserve to feel safe. We want to be trusted. We demand counselors, not cops, in our schools. We demand an end to racist policing in our schools and communities. We will be heard.
We are young people from across the country standing in solidarity with the youth in Parkland and the millions of other young people calling for change. While people take up the debate around school safety and gun control with new energy, the debate itself is nothing new. We know this because we are the black and brown young people who have been at the forefront of these debates. We stand in solidarity with youth who are calling for an end to gun violence in all of its forms and for school safety that doesn't further criminalize black and brown communities. When we go to school, we are being prepared for prison more than we are being prepared for life. We see guns, and as black and brown children, we know they are more likely to be used against us than to protect us. We are dehumanized by dogs sniffing our backpacks, harassed by police through invasive body searches and metal detectors, stripped of our privacy as officials rifle through our lockers, and surveilled by cameras as they capture our every move. This is our current reality, a school environment that treats us as suspects, as criminals. We have experienced gun violence throughout our lives, and one of the main perpetrators of this gun violence has been police. We have been watched as our black brothers, sisters, and trans family have fallen victim to this system of institutionalized racism. We have come up in the age of the murder of Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Freddie Gray, and many other youths of color. We call for an end to gun violence, which low-income communities of color have been making for years. We must include a demand for an end to police violence. This call is especially critical under the Trump administration, which has shown little resistance in aggressively expanding the militarization of the state and reinforcing the criminalization of black youth and communities of color. We choose to protect our schools.
Thank you, guys. At this time, we will now introduce our panelists. You guys can just go around and say you guys' name.
Hello, my name is Randy Thompson. I'm a junior here at Creative Arts.
My name is Wilmaris Garcia Gomez. I'm a senior.
My name is Isaiah Rivera, and I'm a senior.
My name is Janae Brown, and I'm a junior.
My name is Taj Mercordy, and I'm a sophomore here at Creative Arts.
My name is Zion Adams, and I'm a junior.
Thank you. Now we'll have questions and answers by the panelists. If you guys have any questions, this is now the time.
I don't think I introduced myself. My name is Karima Dickerson. I'm a senior here at Creative Arts, and I'm also a senior member and a founding member of the Camden Student Union. So our first question for the panelists today is, how has gun violence and or recent events affected you, and how do they make you feel? We could do a popcorn style. We could do it however you guys feel is more comfortable.
Well, there's a lot of factors that go into this question, so putting this in 2 minutes is going to be a little hard for me. But hearing stories like Parkland and Columbine, like, it makes my heart heavy. We're talking about students with dreams much like mine, whose path to success was deeded by a fool with a gun. And a lot of people think like this is just a mental health issue when it's in fact it's not. It's there's a kid that can just pick up a gun, and seeing that can scare me as a student. And people think that gun violence is about bullying when in fact it's not. Because if it was about bullying, you would see black kids, Middle Easterners, Hispanics, LGBT, trans, and immigrants they would be doing the shooting, but in fact you see a white male who they're doing the shooting because no one holds them accountable and they feel a sense of superiority. So that's really how I feel about this topic.
Okay, my name is Janae Brown, and I was born and raised in Camden, New Jersey. Camden, New Jersey, like Ms. Ronson said in the beginning, is the second most dangerous city in the country. And we've been dealing with gun violence for a long time. So I think the whole gun violence movement is really like a race. It has something to do with race because we're black people and we've been dealing with gun violence for a long time and nobody haven't put that gun. I mean, it was on the forefront, but it really wasn't on the forefront until the white community started putting it on the forefront. So that's how I feel about gun violence.
Piggybacking off of what Janae said, by the way, my name is Zion Adams. I came from a predominantly Caucasian school, Cherry Hill East, and now I'm in Camden Creative Arts. Coming from Cherry Hill, predominantly white community, you would rarely see, in school you would like never see a police officer. It would be like a security guard just walking around, nothing, no metal detectors. It was like a very chill environment, like I was at home. Now coming to Camden Creative Arts, being also a part of the Camden High Mighty Marching Panthers, having to go to Camden High, going through metal detectors, having to take off everything that was metal just to get in, even though I'm pretty sure I seem innocent. I think they look at me at my color of my skin and automatically take me as a threat. Like, especially white police officers, not trying to be racist or anything. You get pulled over nowadays and they automatically think, oh, let me check the car. Like, they find a reason to give you a ticket just because of the color of your skin. They think of you as a threat. And this is something that I feel is very, it's very disappointing at this day and age that we have to go through this. And it's not like, we've been through slavery, and I feel like we're still in slavery in 2018.
How's it going? So regarding recent events of gun violence, I find it very appalling that in 2018 we're still having issues with regards to our gun control and with the human condition, whether it be ethically and with mental health. And I believe that with these events it's very sad because you have you have children that were just starting their lives, figuring out what they wanted to do and how they can contribute to society, and it's cut short. And nowadays, under a certain someone's administration, where you have people who are dreamers coming to this country to start a new life, it's horrible to find that we as a people aren't able to feel safe in our ambitions and our need to grow.
Hello. So, the gun violence. So, I feel very disgusted because all the gun violence, the year just started, right? And there's been so many school shootings already, right? So, it affected me. So, I am more alert now towards the people around me. And coming to school, walking to school, I'm always looking around to make sure I don't see so if a cop car passes me, one time as I was walking, it was me, my younger brother, and a cop stopped by us and asked what was in my saxophone case. This is like back in middle school, and I told him it was a saxophone. He asked me to open it up though, and he seen it was a saxophone. I wasn't lying, right? And yeah, that right there I don't think if I was a white male walking, I don't think I would have been stopped if I had a black suitcase in my hand. Right? And but yeah, the gun violence lately it got me feeling very disgusted. I mean, thank you.
And those were some great answers. I'm not sure if I introduced myself either. My name is China Morrison. I'm a junior here. For the next question, how do school safety measures in your school compare to other schools in Camden City District?
It compares by, so a lot of schools in Camden, we all have security guards, we all have metal detectors, we do drills for these types of situations, and yeah, that's about it. That's how we compare.
So if I could say something about comparing my school to other schools in Camden, in my school it's more like a home environment. Like I could be able to walk in and say good morning to my security guards as I walk through the metal detector, compared to where if I go to somewhere like Camden High / the new at Hatch, it's like when I walk in through the metal detectors, it's like I have to take everything off, piggyback off what Zion said. I take everything off, put it through like a little slot so they can check it, make sure there's nothing in there. And it's like the security guards there's like a little bit more rougher compared to here. Like, if I wanted to be like, walk in and say good morning, he would just like look at me, like give me a funny face, and this is like, it didn't feel good to me personally. So I like, how would you expect how the kids who actually go to that school would feel about that?
Okay, so at Creative Arts, honestly, when we walk through the door, we go through a metal detector. But it's really not, we don't really go through a metal detector. I mean, it beeps, but we don't really, nobody really checks it. Honestly, let's keep it. So at Camden High, have anyone ever, like, experience of going into a jail and you have to strip? So in going to the jail, you have to take your shoes off. You have to take everything out your pocket. It's like the same comparison. When you go into Camden High, you have to strip of everything. Cause I'm like, I'm in Camden High Marching Band, and we have to go through the metal detectors to enter the school. So I thought it was just like in my school, where if it beeps, oh well. So I walk in. She said, it beeped. I was like, it beeped, yeah, it beeped. She said, you have something in your pocket? I said, oh yeah, I do, yeah. I'm gonna do it again. It beeped again. I'm like, I said I got a belt on. She said you have to remove that too. I was like, what? So. It's the same thing, like entering the jail, entering the school. It shouldn't be like that, but it is what it is.
Well, school safety measures in my school, I would say like we have like code red. Basically all that means is like there's like a perpetrator in the building. Luckily that's never happened to us, but we have drills on that to make sure like we know what to do in that time. But what I would say, sadly, we shouldn't have to do that, but we should create, like, the new schools that we build in the future, whatever that may be. We should have school safety zones, like, where students can just go there so that if, like, a perpetrator does end up going in the building, we all know where to go, and then he can't see where we're at, or she can't see where we're at. And then comparison, I don't want to compare my school to the rest of the Camden schools. I'll just compare it to like around the world. So I've seen videos and a couple months ago, and then I've seen some videos yesterday. Schools around the world, they're so much different than how we are. Much like what the rest of the panelists said, like they treat them like as if they're in jail. I've seen like a lot of, rather than saying they're security guards, they're really much like cops. Like they treat the students as if they're criminals. Like these are students of the world, like they're the future, and you're treating them as if they're criminals already locked up, incarcerated. And like to see them create this harm towards them, it really hurts my heart. Like I saw a video yesterday, like some security guards, they were, he like smashed his 2 front teeth in or something like that. And what else did they do? I mean, y'all know, y'all was watching the video too.
Like 3 out of the 4 slides, they took people, they was choking out students, predominantly black students.
And that's also like a really big issue. Most of most of the students that are being harmed, they're black and brown kids, they're black and Hispanic kids being harmed. Like, you don't really see that with white kids around the world, and that doesn't scream out something to you. Like, so that's how I really feel about this school safety measures. Why hire cops in the schools when you could just hire security guards who know the kids and treat them as students?
Thank you guys for that. So, with the current possibility of a regulation being passed to arm teachers, as well as current events happening nationally, what does the future of school safety look like nationally to you, as well as locally in Camden City School District?
With that regulation being so-called to put in place eventually, I strongly disagree with it because not all teachers love their students. I'm gonna be honest. Some teachers are just here to get their money and leave at the end of the school day. So, and some teachers aren't trained to, take care of altercations in the classroom. So a teacher may get fed up and be like, I'm gonna pull out my gun and I'm gonna threaten you and then put it back in my drawer. And that could lead to, okay, a big and bold student take the gun and be like, you want to put a gun in my face, then this and this and this. It'll lead to more altercations. Now say the teacher goes to the bathroom, accidentally leaves the key inside the classroom, and a mentally ill student might grab the key and pull the gun out. I'm saying is having a gun in the classroom leads to more destruction. Rather than investing in guns, let's invest in bulletproof smart boards that they can detach. This is in the making, actually, that they can detach and use for protection. It's better to invest in protection than to invest in something that could cause more problems.
So my answer with this specific question, I really hate this regulation that they're thinking about passing, because the bottom line is there are a whole bunch of teachers around the world who are racist. And how would you feel if you know that this teacher is racist and you're a black or brown kid and you're fearing that they might just pull the gun out on you? What? That doesn't make any sense to me. And another thing is if they're not going to use a gun, they're just there to, just for safety, or if they're there to just threaten you if you're in a fight or anything. Teachers are not here to threaten you. They're not here to put fear in you. They're here to educate you. That's it.
Yeah, so our Second Amendment, the Second Amendment states for bearing arms is a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state should have the people bear arms. That is not verbatim, as you can tell. But this is not like we're going into the next civil war inside our classroom. So I don't feel that there's a need for our teachers to hold guns against students. We're raising the future of our nation. We're not raising the next convicts and the next serial killers. So there shouldn't be need for that. It shouldn't be a power for power type of deal where I have the gun, you listen to me. We should talk it out. This is a civilization. This isn't a civil war where we're fighting inside our own classrooms, fighting inside our own country to see who holds the power. And it's like culminating a ticking time bomb in our students seeing this. Whether you have, like was previously mentioned, with the basically being frisked as you enter a school every day, to having our standing militia teachers with weapons who can fire at any moment. Who knows, they might have a bad day and just say, I feel like shooting. It isn't right, and it just it puts the students in a certain mindset, being exposed to so much weaponry, so much aggression, and it also it prepares you for a different type of atmosphere instead of the one that we should be accustomed to, which is a more civil and a more just way of living.
What proactive practices can be created to reduce the over-reliance of obsessive reactions to school safety?
I personally believe that no human being on earth is in charge of whether or not who gets gets disciplined in a violent way. In other words, death or injury given back on the person who's done something wrong. So in being proactive, I would say let's invest in a way to, instead of, oh, by your charge, you're going to be this and this, like, you know, your charge is death, this and this and this. Like, no one should have possession of a gun. You're not in charge of someone else's life. So I would say that we invest in, you know, barricades, door barricades, like Barracuda intruder defense actually locks the door from the inside out. You can't use a key to get in. You can't budge the door or anything like that. Investing in things that prevent the perpetrator from coming inside saves money, because I'm pretty sure it costs more to buy a gun, saves money and keeps children safe without hurting someone else.
All right, I'll go then. So up to this point, we've been very reactive to the recent events with gun violence and with the shootings. And I feel as though our gun regulations do need to be revamped, because it is easy to obtain firearms. But there is also a mental problem with our students, with the aforementioned frisking every day and being treated as a criminal. It comes to no surprise that students start to act like criminals and like murderers. And that becomes apparent, especially with recent events, that we need to have more emotional support and more counselors to have for students to talk to. Because you have to remember, it's 8 hours out of a day that we're in school. Yeah, let's just say 8. For the rest of the 16, what is the student going through? When they come to school, you can't expect them to drop the baggage of home, or you can't expect them not to hold anything that they've previously gone through. There should be an emotional support through the staff, teachers, security that can help alleviate these students' issues. That way it doesn't escalate, and it helps solves problems. Because the first state that we should be protecting is the state of mind. That doesn't mean more weapons. That doesn't mean we have to frisk you every single day when you enter a school. It means we have to reassure to you that we'll keep you safe, and we know what's best for you, or not we know what's best for you, but we'll help provide what we believe is best for you.
If I can piggyback off of Isaiah, it's like, I believe instead of like having, I want to see practices, have teachers that can like talk to you about what you're going through. So like, for an example, I have a little brother who's like, I don't want to say he's like mentally ill, but like he has like special problems where I know, because he goes to a charter school, and then teachers there are like predominantly Caucasian, and like, so when I go up to like visit him and stuff like that, it's like I ask him like how the teachers are doing there, like do they help you with stuff, and he tells me stuff like no, like it might be a rare day where he tells me a teacher there actually helped him with something, because like the teachers at his school, he goes to Mastery Molina in North Camden, the teachers there, they don't know how to like to specifically help him with his problems that he goes through on a daily basis.
Hi, I know I'm on the panel, but I have a question for everybody. So what happens when the what is the word, perpetrator is the students, are the students? Like, how can we help them? Cause in the recent event that happened was school shootings, and half of the school shootings are done by the students. So how can we stop the attack on the mentally ill? That's for everybody. We can go around with questions. Yes.
Personally, I had a friend who died from gun violence, and the story was that the girl who actually shot the boy was having problems at home and didn't have anyone to go to.
Right.
And I think having counselors or always having that extra person more than what we have already is always good for the students.
Yeah.
And making sure that someone's always there to ask if anyone's okay.
Right. Donald.
Honestly, and I'm going to be very blunt about this, honestly, you can't really do much about that because they're mentally ill. Okay, counselors, they go to counselors, they talk to people, but for some reason, you feel me, and they were born that way. You can't blame them. They were born that way. For some reason, no matter how much they talk to people, they just, mentally ill people, they can't get help. And if they do eventually get help, it takes a very long time for them to get help. You get what I'm saying? So
What's the solution, though?
it's like, I really don't think there is a solution to, preventing the mentally ill, students. Maybe, well, how about this? Maybe, I feel like every state should have, every county in every state should have a specific, like, how we have crisis,
Right.
Should I say? I feel like every mentally ill person in that county should go to that school. They shouldn't be in, and I don't want to, say they're not regular because they're human beings. They're human beings just like all of us. But they need that extra help that, a regular public school might not be able to provide. You get what I'm saying? So maybe that's the solution. Maybe.
So going back to what I originally said earlier, I don't see the acts of terror that's been happening recently as a mental health issue. Like, that's the bottom line for me. I know people who are mentally ill, but that doesn't. I feel like people say that they're mentally ill as a mask, as a facade, just to pass it by. Just because you're mentally ill doesn't give you a reason, doesn't give you an excuse to rain these acts of terror on people. That it shows who you are as a person when you do this stuff. So especially the white kids that's been doing this, they've been using it as a mask to say that they're just mentally ill, to use it as an excuse so that they don't get any repercussions put to them. They use it as a mask. I'm sorry, but that's it.
Everybody, hold on to your questions because at this time we're going to open up the floor to our audience members and our peers and you guys can make any statements or ask any questions you want. To the panelists. You can make your statement.
So based off what Ms. Gomez said, that if it's an African American teen or African American youth that has a gun in school and they bring a gun to school, they're labeled as a monster, somebody who shouldn't be trusted around kids, somebody who came from a low poverty area and they're a drug dealer or a gangbanger. But if they're gang associated. But if, no offense to nobody, but if a white boy or a white girl wants to come to school and have a gun and have a mental breakdown in the hallway or wants to shoot up a kid, they're labeled as right away, oh, they're just having a
they're troubled, they're problems. They need work because at home they're not getting the attention they need. But if it's the African American teen, they're a monster, send them away, give them death. But if it's once again a white male or a white female, they just need counseling and maybe they'll get better or they will get better because it's a white privilege situation more than we're all human, we all have to suffer the same consequences situation.
So, on the question that she said, I also agree with the man over there. We can't basically help them, but we can guide them to a correct position. We can't force them to change, but we can have the influence to help them change. We can't force them to change their set of mind because no one knows what it is, what they're going through but them. No one has the correct feeling, No one experiences what they're going through, so you can't say, oh, this and this and this. But a lot of people have piggyback ride over the mental illness. It's not mental illness if you know what you're doing, and it's not mental illness if you know what you're gonna do. It's not mental illness if you need to kill somebody. It's not mental illness if you want to kill somebody. A mental illness is when you don't have consciousness on what you're doing. If you have consciousness on what you're doing, it is not considered mental illnesses. So mental illness is not, you can take it off the table for certain people because they know what they're doing. The people in Parkland, the boy who killed, he knew what he was doing. He did not have no mental illness. He decided to kill people. He chose to kill people because he was bullied. But that is not considered mental illness. That is considered hatred. That is considered revenge on what they did to you. Mental illness is not the same thing as revenge. And the Trump administration thinks, and he believes, that putting guns into the hands of a teacher is going to help. It's not going to help. It's going to create new massacres inside school buildings. It's going to cause more destruction in people's lives. He wants students to live in fear of who has a gun and who doesn't. A teacher does not have the power to shoot somebody because they choose to. They have the power to defend, but they don't have the power to judge and take the life out of a student who has dreams, who had a future. And because Donald Trump believes that one way or another he's going to stop that, gun violence is not the way to stop a problem. You can't fight an evil with evil. You have to fight evil with love.
Does anyone else have a question or statement? Anybody else?
We would like to just give a round of applause to our panelists. And at this time, we will have our ask from Amir Roberts.
Wait, but before we do that, do you think I can see the light?
Yes, Peter. Yes, you may.
Real fast, can you guys give yourselves a round of applause for coming out here during this nice Friday and taking that active stand and really believing? I think that's all.
I'm sorry, before we go into our ask, we want the panelists to say their final statement, 30 seconds.
I have to comment on the last person in the audience that spoke. That was actually very well spoken and took away a lot of my words. But I want to add on to that seeing our own faces in the school will also help. Having invest in teachers that reflect on us, that know how to deal with black and brown students will also help. And on top of that, I believe that there should be justice for the previous people that were considered mental illness when they actually premeditated what they were doing. Because when you premeditate, you know. So there should be justice in what they were doing. That's all I have to say.
If I could say my final statement, it would to be piggyback off of Zion. Invest in teachers who look like us, who will be able to understand what we go through personally at home, inside of school, and outside of school. So I'm basically saying invest in teachers who are brown-skinned Latinos, who come from all around the world, from different places, to understand what we go through.
My final statement is to tell the world to stop the attack on, to have equal rights for black and brown students and Caucasian students.
Let's just stop biting each other. Let's let's stop looking at our neighbors as the devil, and let's start to love each other. Because as soon as we start doing that, that's when we can all get together and do something great.
So my final statement is, I don't want to say final statement, but just to appreciate the black people who are already on the forefront talking about gun violence already. Before this whole new movement already started, we were already fighting against gun violence, but no one wanted to give us that publicity until the white kids were on the forefront. So I just want to appreciate them. And also, I just want to say, we as inner city youth, we need resources. We need places to go to vent, or just to be involved in. We don't have that in Camden or in other inner cities. So I want to ask, that's like one of my demands. So yeah, that's my final statement.
My final statement is basically make each individual student that walks through the school doors feel like they're loved and that they're supposed to be there and not just a number. Yeah, that's it.
Again, we would like to thank our panelists and everyone who took their time out to be a part of this needed discussion today. And Amir will come with our ask for our youth demand petition.
Hey everybody. Thank you, all of you guys. And thank you guys too. So can everyone take out their phone? I know everyone have a phone. Come on. Come on. Come on, as much as Dr. Brockton, y'all are talking about phones, I know y'all got it. Come on, take them out. Come on. All right, so everybody got their phone out? Everybody ready? Or a notepad or something? Okay, so first, can everyone write this down? Hashtag Youth Demand Petition. It's a petition, it's online. Again, it's Youth Demand Petition. Everyone got that? It's hashtag Youth Demand Petition. The next one is www.protectourschools.com, and it's a pledge. Again, it's www.protectourschools.com. Can you guys sign the petition on these websites? The first one is a petition, and the www.protectourschools is actually a pledge. And the next one is www.j4jalliance.com, which is also a petition. It's www.j4jalliance.com. Oh, the J4J is actually a number 4, like it's 4.
Oh.
Yeah, not the word, it's just the number 4. And that's a petition. So I'm gonna go from the first one, then read them to y'all again. So the first one is hashtag Youth Demand Petition. The second one is www.protectourschools.com, which is a pledge. And then the last one is www.j4jalliance.com, which is a petition. Does everyone have that?
Yep.
Next, we will have my best friend, Karima Dickerson.
Thank you, Amir. So, it's surprising that Amir said this in her final statement. She talked about safe spaces for students to go to where everyone's voice can be heard. So, the Camden Student Union is creating a citywide Camden Student Coalition, which will be a safe space and it's student-led, where mental health and wellness is discussed and is embraced, and every student's voice will be heard. So we ask you guys to take the time out and learn more about this Camden City Student Coalition that the Camden Student Union is putting together, and become a part, because we have the voice. We decide what happens to our future. We choose. They don't choose for us. We choose our destiny. Thank you again for coming out.
We have refreshments over there, water, juice, and everything else. And also, we would like to thank everyone for coming out again. And if anyone that isn't a part of the Camden Student Union, if you guys would like to join, you guys can. Thank you again for coming. Oh, and Mr. Matt.
Real quick, I had to say something. I can't leave without saying anything. So today, I was sitting there, I closed my eyes a few times because, this was about you all today. Today reminded me again about how powerful, how great you all are as young people. When I closed my eyes for a second, I just thought back to when I was in high school, and no way I had this sort of like depth of like myself or knowledge of things that were happening in the country, and it shows how far we have come. And it really has inspired me. I wanted to like ask a few questions. I'll talk to you later, but it inspired me to say, what can I do to help you all? You all said so many poignant statements today, and the young man, I don't know where do I see him over there, was tremendous. The panelists, you all were tremendous, well thought out, really coming with solutions and real answers to some really questions to lead older folks. I'm not gonna call myself old, older folks in this discussion. And so I'm so proud, and I had to say that I'm so proud. And the last thing I want to say is, real quick, I heard the word love about 10 times a day, 10 or 12 times a day. And the reason why that word is so powerful, because the word love covers a multitude of faults. And so what that means is, if you love somebody, you will love them through their faults. You will love them through the things that they don't get right. And so even with folks who have mental illness, folks who are not the same color that we are, folks who have different orientations that we have, if you love them, you will be able to love each other through whatever you feel are each other's faults. So remember that love word was a powerful word, and it struck me on today. So I love you all, and thank you for inviting me.
So before we go, everybody, I just want to thank you. My name is Rotc. I'm a parent here at the school, and I'm a member of the Camden's Parent Union. Our parent union, we come together to try to create spaces for students to be able to be in leadership. We want to create opportunities of inspiration for our children. And I want to commend the school for allowing us to be in this space. It's safe, it's theirs, and they own it. And they own this entire panel and leadership day, right? What's happening is, just so for clarity, there's a National Day of Action happening. There's schools all over the country that are walking out, creating actions that are happening. And we, Camden, are a part of that National Day. So we chose to do a panel discussion to discuss the effects of violence and crime and safety in schools and in our city, which is students. We didn't want to be in front of it. We didn't want to be the ones discussing it. We wanted to be the people who let them be in leadership and show that they are the experts. We're not in school every day. They are, right? They walk these streets every day. So we wanted to also show a partnership with the school district. We invited the mayor to come, and I want to say it on record that he couldn't make it, but he was supportive to it. And these are the kind of things we do to have our children feel that in these spaces, whether it's school or community, they have a space to have a voice. We want to make sure that everyone sitting in the audience today leaves here with a conversation or a feeling of, I matter. And this is for you, right? We also want you to know that there's parents in the community who will go to war to make sure that you get the excellence that you need in every school. And that's our job. You know, it's not about making everyone feel down or making it feel dark. It's about brightening it up, making you know that when you leave the city and you come back, it's still your city. So we want you to know that you are our future. I would like to work for one of you guys because you guys are amazing, right? This is the future of Camden right here. I want to come and be an advisor on one of your boards, right? So it's important for us to be able to say that as a parent union. And we're just two that reflect the parent union, the parents that are in the city that care for you. Shout out to Dr. Brockington, Ms. Shakir here in the school. Shout out to Mr. Bell for coming through. We thank Camden City School District Television Station for being here in the space. But most of all, wholeheartedly and sure enough, we will not shrink. And I thank every student who put their time, effort, and commitment into this happening today. Thank you.